Hi, I'm David Lisot. It's June 1st, 2016. I'm here with John Highfill, founder of the National Silver Dollar Roundtable. Tell me about some of the celebrities you've known from your involvement in the record industry and through the years.
Well, you know very much that I was in the record business for 5 years, and I was fortunate enough to go backstage with pretty well everybody you can think of back then. I've got autographed albums from each and every one of these. I went backstage with Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis, but not Joey Bishop, Elvis Presley, Tom Jones, Ingrid Humperdinck, Kenny Rogers, and I had autograph sessions by all these people. I had autograph session. I remember I had the Carpenter's autograph session. Karen Carpenter, she came up to me and says, "I've got to leave. I'm getting a Grammy tonight." And it's like 2 o'clock, and it's probably there from 2 to 4. I said, "Can you make this 2 to 3? I said, "Yeah, I can do it. Can you ride me to the airport?" Gosh, now I got to leave my thing. Nobody's in charge of me, drive her to the airport. And then she gave me a kiss at the airport. That was a nice moment, you know. And then Kenny Rogers said, "I'm not doing autograph sessions. People come there and 10 people show up." I said, "I guarantee you'll have plenty of people." So we had him at a Wonder World store and everything, at a Wonder World, you know, and we did the same thing with the tractor trailer and all that, set it up there. We had an audience out there, there's probably 150 people out there. I see what he's talking about. But we left there 4 hours, and it got to where it's 350 people after 4 hours. So people coming through on an ongoing basis. So we had a couple, 3,000 people go through there. And I already shook my hand, and I said I got autographed albums by him too. I had a Bobbie Darin story. Bobbie Darin came to town, and they couldn't find his albums anywhere, so they called me up and said, "Do you have Bobbie Darin?" Well, without being too braggadocious, I have 18,000 record albums, okay, in another room. And those record albums, 95% of them have never been opened. I've always been a collector. I've just been a collector to the banks. But anyway, I pulled my Bobbie Darin story album out. I took it to the hotel. It's a Landmark Hotel. It's not there anymore. It's across from the International. And they took it down to the radio station. They cut some commercials for him because he's playing there at the Landmark. So I went back about 3 weeks later. I realized I had to get my record back. You know, he couldn't find one. I can't find one either. I want my record back. So I went there and I knocked on his door, you know, and because I knew what room he was in, because I had to drop it off before. And he opens the door and he's in a bathrobe, you know, nothing, you know, just in a bathrobe. "Can I help you?" He says, "Yeah, I'm John. I'm the one that you borrowed my record of." "Oh, you're John," like that. Really nice guy. And he says, "Yeah, here, hold on a second." He went over and got there and says, "Here, thank you." I took about 3 steps. Says, "Hey, wait a second. You want me to sign that?" Sure.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't have a pen. He didn't have a pen. So he goes over there and gets a Keno, one of these red Keno pens. He signs "Love Always," Bobbie Darin, something like that. So I still got that album. I got Elvis autographed album. I got Dean Martin's autographed album. I got all the people I mentioned before. I've accumulated through the years thousands of autographed albums. I have thousands of autographed albums. So that's one of my big niches.
How about sports? How important is your sports collecting?
I got a lot. You know, I got pretty well every Hall of Fame baseball, autographed baseball, and I have probably 40, 50 World Series teams baseballs. I got Babe Ruth baseballs. I got a lot of stuff. More stuff that I'd like to talk about here.
So, John, do you hunt or fish?
Nope, not a hunter. We want my hunting story? Told you I was a nice guy. Everybody says they're nice guys. Usually not a nice guy, but I'm a nice guy. I'm with Ricky Brown, a good friend of mine, is Buddy Brown, and they take me out hunting. You know, they take me on this duck thing. Well, I'm one of these athletic guys. Had a 9,800-yard dash. You know, 4:40, 53 seconds. You know, these were big scores back in those days. I could jump 6'2", and I was 5'10". That's taking your whole body and jumping 4 inches over your head. I had a 39-inch vertical, could dunk a basketball. All these things that people don't believe, but I did it. You know, and so anyway, I was very athletic. Is what I'm trying to get at. We went hunting. And they set in the duck blind and give me the shotgun, and I think it's got 4 in the chamber and 1 in there against 5 shots, you know. And when the ducks come over, they're going to laugh at me because I've never shot a gun before. So the ducks come by and they're doing this wink, wink, wink. They come by and I go, bam, bam, bam. I knock 4 out of 5 down, you know. And Buddy says, "Ricky, you told me that he couldn't shoot." "Well, he's never shot a gun before." He says, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, just there's duck, see duck, put dude." I know it sounds like it's like you're telling a story, but I brought down 5 ducks. So I brought back one duck. He's downstairs in my office down there, and I stuffed him. And I remember that night I felt so much remorse about killing that duck, and I hadn't done it since.
Well, I have to ask, John, what is it like to be John Highfill?
Just being John Highfill. Nothing more, nothing less. I get mad at myself every day and amaze myself every day. It's just one day at a time. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't know. I was just born this way, but it just pops in my head all the time. I think of things all the time. I think I miss my calling, though. I know for a fact I've got titles. I got some words to songs I should have put out 25, 30 years ago. I get books in my head. I know I could write books, but I wasted my time. I didn't waste my time. I had a really wonderful life, but everything I've done to that point is things that if I'd gone a different path, I wouldn't, have what I have or did what I did or whatever it is. I probably wouldn't have ever bought a Beanie Baby, but I might have written some books. I've just got so much stuff in my head, and it never stops. And movies, I love movies. I told you that earlier. I can go to a movie, I can see a movie, I can see those 1 points in a movie that make a movie. And all the good movies are the AMC art movies. That's ones where the class is. There's class in acid movies. You know that, okay? And I like the class. But I see almost every movie's out. But I don't do horror movies. I don't like them at all. They don't scare me. I just don't like them. I don't see no motive for that. All it is to get a young girl and a young boy to get together and hug and scare each other back when they're teenagers. But I can't see any reason for horror stories.
Tell me more about baseball.
I do like the baseball, okay? Had my chances at baseball, didn't make it, but I still love baseball today. I'm so intense at baseball, though, that I don't enjoy it as much as I like it. Does that make sense? In other words, I like to watch baseball, but when I grew up in the 40s when they didn't have television, listened to Harry Carey with the St. Louis Cardinals, put me to sleep at nighttime. So I loved baseball before I had anything to do with baseball. And one thing led to another. I remember that when I was in grade school, I was the best baseball player. I could hit the ball farther than anybody, and I was this kind of guy, okay? We had a high school. I'll get to that in a minute. But I remember when I was in the 7th grade, Jiggs Whittington was our coach at the time. I went out for baseball in the 7th grade, and a lot of guys out there. And from 6th to 7th grade, guys went from here to here, or guys went from here to here, They got bigger, stronger and everything. Mm-hmm. I went from about here to here, just regular kid. Grew up to be 5'11" at tops, 5'10" now. And I couldn't hit the baseball because they were throwing 35 miles an hour. 6th grade, they're playing 55 or 60 miles an hour. That's not 100 miles an hour, but 55, 60 miles an hour when you're 13 years old, fast. So I'd hit some, but I'd miss some, I'd foul some, stuff like that. After about 3 days, I quit, went home. So a couple of days went by and baseball came. It was back in the days. These are the 50s, okay? So that was been a baseball coach. Actually, like in these movies, you see in black and white, they come out to the kid's house. Well, they did. They came out to my house. And they said to me, he said to me, John, we need you on the baseball team. You're one of the best players, I think. Yeah, that's not true. He says, yeah, you're the best hitter I got. That ain't true. Yeah, it is. He says, Coach, I only hit the ball about 3 or 4 times out of 10. He says, yeah, but that's like 300 or 400 average. That's really good. You're right. He took me out there and he said, watch these kids. I watched them. None of them hit the ball. I realized I can hit the ball sometimes, So that's what baseball's all about. You get a 300 hitter, he hits the ball 3 out of 10 times. Well, he gets a hit 3 out of 10 times. He probably hits the ball more than that. But anyway, I got to where I found out. Then if he hadn't came to my house, I'd never played baseball. All my success that I had in baseball and everything through the years, I wouldn't have had if he hadn't came into my house. Because I mentioned earlier, I had a dad. He left my mom when I was an infant, and I never saw him. So those are good days.
With all your years of experience, what are the most important things in life?
Oh, you want to talk more about myself? I don't like talking about myself, but we'll talk about myself because I do a good job of it, I guess. Anyway, I guess I guess it's pretty well known by people that know me and probably from this video that I'm worth at least $1 million. But there's a saying that, you know, they have people that have a millionaire's taste with a pauper's budget. Well, I guess I have a billionaire's taste with a millionaire's budget. But I like the finest things in life, you know. I like to, when I travel the world, I like to get a suite. I've got over 40 cruises. I like to have the very finest things in life, but still like that table of dinner. When I go on a cruise, my family's first. I'll go along. Hey, let's go do this. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's do what you do. So it's the things that make you happy, that you enjoy for other people, that make you happy. Does that make sense? So yeah, I like to travel. The only thing I haven't traveled, I've traveled the entire world. It's in pretty well every major city. We're going to go to Iceland. I haven't done that yet. We're going to go to South America, because the only reason I haven't done that is because it's a 28-day cruise, and it takes a month out, and it's hard to do that at any point in time. Plus, my daughter's in college, and I have to wait for her to get out of college to finish that one up. Otherwise than that, I like to go and see things. I'm a vagabond by trade. I just can't sit still, you know. I'll be working sometimes 10 o'clock at night, and I'll look up, 10, yeah, I can still make it. And I'll run down 2 miles away and catch a movie at 10 o'clock. I've probably seen it before, too. But I love movies, and I just like the finer things in life. And if I can afford them, I'll buy it. But it's like I got to talk to you about coins again. It's like the 64 grade. Anyway, if something cost $100,000 and $100,000, like a 93 SN5, and in four it's $10,000, unless you really got a lot of money and you got to have it, you shouldn't buy it. I mean, you should buy that $10,000 rare coin at 64s. But there's a lot of billionaires out there and multimillionaires out there that have to have that, and I don't begrudge them for that. But you got to make sure that's not your last penny when you're buying that coin, too.
Tell me about the grade of MS-64 and how it was created.
The MS-64 grade, I need to talk about that. The National Silver Dollar Roundtable, we had, before PCGS, prior to PCGS, we had prize guides that we sent out, and we made them out as flyers. We still had out flyers to every convention about the Roundtable. We've been doing it for 35 years now. But this flyer, we'd have down 1878 8-tail feather, MS-60, our bid would be this, this. Sometimes we'd be pretty parallel, comparable to gray sheet, but we'd have our own bids, stuff like that. And then after a while, we realized that when they first started, they had BU, you know, for 81S and 82S and 83Os and 84Os, and all those were common dates. And then they'd have a 60. And then they came back with B and went to 60 bid. And then the gray sheet progressed through the years, and they had a 65 bid. Well, they had a 65 bid, say at $10, and 65 is 100. That's a big spread. And back then, people didn't know the difference. They were shiny or not shiny back in those days. Okay, these are like early 70s or whatever like that. So after a while, they brought in a 63 bid after much contest in the numismatic community to make the 63 bid something would make the difference between the grades. In other words, if something's bid, let's do it with $100, $100 and $500. Well, this 63 was supposed to be like $250. You understand? And then $500. But instead of being like that, it slid down to 100, 100 and a quarter, and still 500. It did no good at all. The 63 still doesn't do that much good. I mean, today. I don't think it'll do it in the future. So we at the Roundtable got together and decided we would put on our price sheets MS-64 grade. We created the 64 grade. I'm sorry, forgive the ego, we did it, okay? We did it for a year and a half before the gray sheet picked it up, okay? And we handed it around, well, what's this grade? Well, what is this grade? Now we still don't have PCGS or NGC or ICG or Annex or any of the other grading companies telling you what to do, you understand, or what grades they are, or you can see them. So we're still self-grading. So you find a coin that's better than a 63, but not quite 65 and 64. So it'd be 100, 1 and a quarter, like $275, $300, then $500. Right. That grade's still today #1 across the whole index. I'm going to try and trade the grade index to 100 grades. All that's trying to do is squeeze more money out of the collector. That's you know, forgive the guys that thought about that. I'm not in their camp, okay? But the thing is that the 64 grade today is still the number grade you should work on. And I tell everybody in my investment seminars, when they're learning seminars or educational seminars, however we want to call them, I said, buy the best coin you can for your pocketbook, but don't buy the common dates. common taste are there forever. I said that earlier. But if you can afford 64, try and buy 64 grades. And that's what I still live by.
What is your favorite collectible?
I know that when it comes to things that I like personally, as far as autographs are concerned, I try and find the rare stuff that's kind of expensive but not expensive. You understand, like the 64 grade? Does that make sense? Here we go. Do that. Like I got a Johnny Cash concert used, autographed harmonica. And I have all my stuff certified for either PCGS or Global or any company. Any good company, a verified company. Then I have the same thing with Stevie Wonder. Concert used, autographed Stevie Wonder. Remember when that came in, it had written Stevie Wonder like a third grader wrote on it. Like I told Marlene, I said, who the hell did this to this guitar? I realized it wasn't a kid, it was Stevie Wonder, he's blind. So, Stevie Wonder.
Well, I've known you for years, and John, you're genuinely one of the most interesting people that I've ever met. You've achieved a great deal of things, and I'm really proud to have this opportunity to speak with you. And I remember in the 80s when you were a pyro roller, when you were the absolute market, and you were king of silver dollars. Yeah. Everybody would go to the shows and find out what Highfill was paying, and the bids and the asks, and that's just any stories you want to tell, anything you want to share. This is part for posterity, and I'm honored to be part of your life and sharing this with the rest of the world through the generations.
Well, I guess it was called the Roaring 80s. That'd be it. I guess my accomplishable years, like everybody else's when you're younger, although I was 40. But I remember when me and Marlene got married and we had Chelsea, that didn't stop us. We had 50 shows a year. We had 52 shows a year. We didn't miss a week. One year we had 39 days in Tulsa. We lived there. We were just on the road. We would go to Jack Tar show in San Francisco, drive down to Highway 1 and go to Long Beach, and then go down to San Jose, and then, go over to Las Vegas. We just kept going show to show. I mean, it was like finding money trees back then. First of all, you got to do what I did. You got to. I'm making it sound like it's too easy. Not everybody could do what I did. If they did, I would have had competition. Mm-hmm. People couldn't do it. I don't know why I could do it. I just could do it. It became instinctive to me to do that. But we'd patch up the Craco and ship through the airlines and put Chelsea in a crate behind our table and just keep on going. I never stopped. But I mentioned before the thousands of bags that I pulled out of the shows. It was just we always had 3 tables. Sometimes we had 4 tables. One time I tried 6. I couldn't handle it though. So we had 4 tables across, and I'd have them lined up there. David Hull, Hans Tubing, Dean Tavener, Leroy Linhart, everybody's there, and they're picking through the rows. And I remember, I'm buying coins at $40 a coin, $800 a row. I'm selling the rows there at $850. Well, this is a secret. I'm glad these guys are gone. But the companies I mentioned earlier, I was selling them at $900. Well, I had to ship them too, and I had to wait for the money, so it was a little bit more. But I was selling them at $850. I'm making $50 a row. I'm doing thousands of rows per show. And when you let them pick a $50 a coin, and each guy takes a couple of hundred coins, you make $15,000 to $20,000 in a day. Every day, every show, everywhere. I made a statement to 3 guys: Dean Tavener, John Love, and Wayne Miller. I'm not trying to mock them. It's just I saw something that they didn't see, and they laughed at me. And probably, if they thought better, they wouldn't have laughed at me. Probably would have thought the same thing. But I said, in 10 years, we'll have a hard time getting a bag of dollars out of the show. And they just laughed at me. Well, I got a gift. It's given to me by David Hall. It's called PCGS. At that time, everybody's taking dollar rolls, cherry picking them, you understand, and set them in a PCGS for grading. So tons of dollars came out of the marketplace and went to PCGS holders, the 63s and 64s, and especially 65s and above. So therefore, the population went away, If you were to crack out the coins out there, you might be able to get some bags of dollars back out, but it's gone. But meanwhile, for every dollar that you send out there to a company that sells to a person, it's out of the market for 10, 20 years, But I don't expect in 10 or 20 years for all that to be coming back in and happening again. It won't happen again, Elvis Presley died, get over it. All of them died. Prince died. Everybody died. It all happens and it's over with. Like I told you, Harlan White, good friend of mine. People say, Harlan who? You know, it's just the way the world is, you know. But anyway, you asked me before, they're going to say John who in the future. I mean, it's you know, after 25 years of encyclopedia, there's a lot of guys that work for companies, you know, the guys that work for Kenny Duncan, good guys, Heritage, stuff like that. They're 25 years old. Guess what? They weren't born when I first wrote the encyclopedia. So therefore, you know, then I realized one day, don't even know I wrote a book, you know. And it wasn't about me. It was about time to educate them, upgrade it at the same time. I started, I said, 19 months ago. Wish I hadn't done it, you know, time-wise and all that. But when it's done, I'll be very, very glad it's done. And because it's an ebook, I can go in there and someone can call it one of their chapters, or I can do it myself. I can make additions, etc. Send it in there, and every time they buy an ebook, it'll be an updated version every time until I pass on or someone takes the rope from there. I doubt anybody's going to take it from there. They couldn't do mine, but they can do other things. But I got like Larry Goldberg, you know, and Dwight Manley, and lots of people, you know. There's 2 or 3 chapters I took out from before that weren't as needed, let's say, as they are today, are not required as they are today. And we had some photos in there that Marlene did. And anyway, that's gone, you know, just like a paintbrush, you can just, you know. So we've done a really good job so far. I'm very excited about that. And if they don't buy it, nothing I can do about it. It's there for them to buy. Yeah, we're going to advertise it, of course, you know, but I'm pretty proud of that. I'm proud of the Roundtable, though. Very proud of the Roundtable. It's a nonprofit organization. It's for the betterment and education of others, and it serves a good purpose, and we push it as hard as we can, you know. So I'm very proud of that. Proud of my kids, all of them. They're all equal, by the way, if they're seeing this video. Every one of them are equal. There's none better than the other. Some of them think they are, though. I'm still pulling for Chelsea. She's got 3 more years of vet school to become a veterinarian. Marlene's done a wonderful job with me. She's been my right arm and sometimes my left arm. Sometimes she's been my filter on my mouth to shut me up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything we've done. You know? And then you too, David. You're my inspiration. I mean, the things that you've done through the years, that's just really great. And the stuff you do for everybody, they just take you for granted, you know. And all these CDs you got. If anybody buys my CDs, look at his entire inventory, you know. He's got CDs and videos from Steve Ivy to everybody else that you can think of. David Hall, PCGS, the grading services. You got a plethora of inventory, you know. And help him make $1 million by all his inventory.
What have been some of your greatest achievements? Do you think God has a special plan for you?
I think God has a special plan for everybody. I think God loves everybody. Yeah, you want to get on some things that make people mad at me? Okay, I can do that. There's not a bad race on this earth. God loves every human being on this earth. And those that don't believe that, got to take it up with God, not me. I mean, every race is a good race. Unfortunately, a couple of races have more bad people in the races than other people do. But every human being is a very special thing. You know, you don't want to get me in pro-abortion, abortion, and all that stuff like that. It's just, but you know, I do things that because I can. You understand? Because I can. I see people at street corners, you know, need food, lost, need a job, stuff like that. I pass them by. I don't ever stop. Are we recording any of this?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know if I will say all this or not, but anyway, I'll go ahead. But anyway, when I see them there, you don't know. But I know in New York City, a guy's got no legs there, and he looks like he's trashed, and he's about there, and he probably almost don't even care if you drop your money in there. He's just trying to get through the day. I'll throw money in there, and it won't be a nickel or a dime or a quarter, you know. I'm really good on the $20 bills, because I can be able to do that. Piece of cake, just $20, it's nothing to me. $20 is nothing to me. Like $1,000 is nothing, no, like a million, that'd be too much. Yeah, like $1 million is nothing to Trump, I guess. Forgive me, Donald. Anyway, so, but there's this guy here in Tulsa under that thing, and it's raining. And I pull up the car, and I always say this to myself. It's up to you, John, to do this. You got to stop. You got to do it. You know, I want to just keep on like everybody else. So I pull over, you know, and he's got two metal legs, you know. He's got a sign, anything would help. He didn't have a sign saying, I don't have a home. I don't have a wife, a dog, a cat. I don't have this and that. He says, anything. I know he's going to have a hard time getting a job. He'd be lucky working at John 316 Missions, which was a great place here in town, as a cook or a dishwasher. He'd be lucky to do that, you know, to get, you know, $5 an hour, $10 an hour. So I'm fortunate enough to be in a financial position where I keep $500 in my billfold all the time. I fold them up, and as the days go by, when I go, I reload it like gas in a car. So I pull out and I pull him a $100 bill and give it out to him. He drops his sign. He starts crying.
Oh, cool, John. Dude. Hey.
He said nobody stopped.
That's a great story.
For $1.
That's a great story.
All day long. For a freaking $1.
Oh, that's a great story.
Stripped your heart out.
That's what it's like to be John Highfill.
Let's cut this out.
Oh,
There's people all over the world worse than that, though.
I'll edit it. Don't worry.
It happened again about 6 months ago. There was this man out here where we had dinner, and across the street I went to Chick-fil-A and got a hamburger, or Chick-fil-A, and I'm out there pulling in the parking lot to eat, whatever. And this man went over there, and she's in a wheelchair, and he's down there, and it's raining and everything. And I'm looking over there, and they just really lost everything. And he comes over. I started my car over the curb. There's a curb here, and there's grass here, and there's a sidewalk. About 3 months ago, same thing happened. Exactly same thing happened. Differently, but same. And I said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" He says, "No, it's starting to rain, no." And he says, "And we're waiting for the bus to take us downtown to the shelter and everything like that." And he started talking about me a little bit, and I said, "Well, what's the story?" He says, "Well, you know, we got down, we lost our home and everything, you know, and they were old and everything like that, and we're just trying to get some money and stay at the mission." So I did the same thing and pulled out a $100 bill, and he did the same thing. He didn't get down on his knees, he just started crying, grabbed my arm, "Praise you." Says, "What are you praising me for? Your wife didn't get anything. I'll give her half." "No, you can't give her half." So I said, "Because that way she'll have $200. He said, "What do you mean?" He says, "This 100's for her." He took it over to her, and she started crying, trying to stand up her wheelchair, you know, praise God and all that. It's just $200.
Yeah.
It's just money, just a little bit of money.
It's a dinner for us.
Yeah. Sometimes. But yeah, I grew up a long time ago, and I put everything economically speaking in my head, including $10,000 items and bigger items than that. But I do the bubblegum theory. Why buy a candy bar for 5 cents when you can get 5 pieces of bubblegum? So when Chelsea's trying to buy something, she says, "Dad, I need to get this on the internet. It's, you know, $180. Says, "Wow, you know, you can get this. You can get these things for $18. You can get $10, $18 ones." Yeah, you're right. I don't need that. You know, so you got to do a price comparison. I don't know where I'm going with that, but that's how I gauge stuff, you know. Plus the things I mentioned to you about autographed harmonicas and stuff like that. I bought them, what I call, very reasonable. I don't step out for anything. I got a Michael Jackson, his red Thriller. They made 100 of those. The real leather ones. I got one of those jackets that's been autographed by him. It's not his jacket, but his autograph, and it's pretty good money.
Still cool.
But then again, I didn't reach out and buy his original one for $4.5 million either. You know what I mean? So there's, you know, that's the bubblegum theory. What can I say? You know, so, but most everything I buy are hard asset stuff. I'm a hard asset person. I'm really not a big cash person, although I do believe in just bonds, waterworks bonds, stuff like that. They're non-taxable and interest-bearing bonds. Those are about the safest thing you can buy. Yeah, I pretty well deal in just straight, what's the word? No bullshit stuff, you know, just right there. Just born a no BS guy all my life. And when people start talking, they start talking some stuff and trash and stuff like that. I just tell them it's a pretty good story, and I just walk away, you know. It's not my job to jump in there and tell them that my opinion. They don't want my opinion anyway. I don't want theirs. They don't want mine. A lot of that out there. Yeah, then I, I'm like cars. I got old cars I drive. I got an old 1956 Mercury.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Red and white.
Yes.
This old car I had in high school, and kept it, and got a 60 Oldsmobile Super 88 convertible. Old car, had in high school. Got a 66 Corvette Stingray.
Yeah.
Bought it new in 66. Old car. I drive old cars.
Oh, cool old
Of
car.
course, did I have a Dodge Viper and a Super Bee too, but that's beside the point. Now I'm bragging. Now I'm bragging.
Yeah.
Barney drives a minivan. No, she drives a Durango.
We'll brag a little.
No, all those, but it's back to the harmonica thing. All those cars, every one of those cars that I own, I bought the Corvette for $4,300, or $43,000. You know what I mean? It's just hard asset stuff. That's what coins are. They're hard assets. I'm a hard asset person. I don't believe. I tell you what, if these numbers are wrong, I'm exaggerating. I don't think they're wrong. Give or take thousands of dollars. But I had like a $200,000 IRA and a 08 crash. And one day it went to 40,000. These numbers might be off, but they're not off much.
Right.
Okay, they went to 60,000. But either way it went. So I'm thinking, let me go back to college. I'm going to buy a new IRA at $60,000. And I need to go up 200% to get up to 180,000. I'll still lose $20,000. What's the chances of that? Zero. Not going to happen. So when you take, and I'm anti, people that deal in stock markets and churn stuff like that, they're not going to like me. But they take this stuff and they churn it. Dr. Rayburn Goin, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he founded Omni Medical Group, one of the biggest places there. He died in '94. He told me before he died, he said, I've been in the stock market since the 20s. Never made a penny. All the rises, all the ups and downs. They just take your stuff and churn it and churn it and churn it. When you hear those kind of stories, they're true stories. If I go on stage on Anderson Cooper, and say, hey, look, you get a guy over here, I'll tell you what's bad about the stock market. Those guys probably tear me up. They have all kinds of words. They're still not going to be right. I know what churning is. I know exactly what it is. I've got a CD that's actually it's a $90,000 CD, okay, which is a lot of money. And I put it in there after my Social Security checks. And I put them in there, and it just accumulates through the years. I get 73 of them, 8 years of Social Security. And last year I got something like $16 interest on it. I still got my $90,000. You understand? So I believe in hard assets. Period. They're not always liquid. They're not always. You can't just run out and sell them tomorrow morning. But if you get in that kind of jam, you got a bigger problem, you think, anyway. But if you just stick to the basics and stuff, you won't lose your money. If you got money, try and keep it. And don't be stupid. Don't just waste money. Don't go out and buy coins that some coin dealer says worth $200,000 and spend your life savings on a coin. Just don't do it. We're getting off the track. We're talking about John's to the coins. We should go back to the coins. But I think, my seminars, I teach them that whether you like it or not, there's Coca-Cola, and then along came Pepsi. No matter what, this son was born in 1960. This son was born in 1961. He's never going to catch that 1960. He's always his big brother. So Pepsi's always a big brother of Coke. You ain't going to change it. Well, it's the same thing with PCGS and NGC. PCGS was the big brother in NGC. You have dealers say, oh, NGC's not worth as much as PCGS. I'm sorry, they really are. It's a coin anyway. But I'm not going to take PCGS versus NGC's contest to the board, to the mat. No, okay? But there are dealers that are saying, and so if I would suggest somebody they're going to buy a coin, I'd buy either or one of them, period. That's all I'm going to say without getting the diplomacy of it. But if someone will try and tell you that this PCGS 81S and 6 is worth $300 or $200, and he says the NGC is worth $150. I can't cuss, can I? Like, that's bullshit, okay? That's not right, okay? If there's 66 or 66, crack it out and get over here for $20 and you just get $30 increase. Anyway, I like PCGS a lot. I'm pretty pro PCGS, but I'm pro NGC too. Got to have an open mind. Mm-hmm. But you should always buy, like I said twice already, the third time, if you're putting together a dollar set, if you can't afford BU, start with Circs. If you're going to start with Circs, start with CCs. Oh, they're affordable and everybody loves CCs. Oh, the CCs. Oh, everybody loves the CCs. And put your set together. I've had many people come up to my table and show me a BU set of dollars. No, the one of them is BU. They bought it from somebody and they're all sliders. Nothing I can do about that. Just got to tell him that, he died. His coin says died. Oh, he gets mad, walks away, comes back, says, what do you give me for it? I asked 10 other guys. Tell him it's still fair. I'll tell you, this is what it's worth. I'll pay you what it's worth. That's one of the things about what I talked about making me cry a while ago. I'm sorry about that. But if the guy said it's worth, say, $1,000, I might buy it for $1,000 and dump it for $1,000 to give him the $1,000 rather than pay me $800. You understand? I might do that. But they just got to learn, and you get the pumpkin gloves.
Tell me about television and the home shopping networks.
And you want to talk about TV? I'll talk about TV. I have no problem with TV. The television out there, okay? You hear Cornelius say, oh, you pay too much on television. Well, it's not for you. It's not for them. It's for the consumer. The FTC, the FCC and everything monitors television. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you got, knock on wood, some guarantee and cushion about the products you buy. Okay? They're not that way with this telemarketing company, this telemarketing company, this telemarketing company. They can all do everything right, or they can be bad. They can shut down tomorrow morning. If they shut down tomorrow morning, where's your avenue to get rid of your coins at? Right. And then you can take them to somebody else, a local coin shop. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Okay? So keep those things in mind. So if you have like I'm going to keep saying 80S, 81S, these are very common Morgans. Okay? They're very popular. San Francisco Mint, brilliant luster, wonderful coins. So if you have an 1881S that you're going to buy, and you go buy it on television, you have to pay, say, $150 for it when you buy it at a coin shop for $125. You're not at a coin shop.
Yeah.
You live in Lone Oak, Arkansas, like I used to say, Hot Springs.
There's no coin store.
All these small towns. They got to get in a car. They got to drive to Dallas. They got to drive to New York, LA, or Chicago. They got to drive to, I grew up in Muskogee. I don't think they have a coin shop in Muskogee. They have to drive to Tulsa. Well, I'm not sure those shops are any better. You understand? Number one. Number two, they probably don't have the product you're looking for. So there are all kinds of reasons that television has a need. If it didn't have a need, it would have shut down on its own, economically speaking, decades ago, okay? So there's a lot of TV stations, and some of them are different than others. I don't recommend any of them, okay? But the ones I do recommend is the ones that you find a good following with. Again, like the name brands like PCGS and all that, I think Home Shopping Network and Cable Shopping Network and these bigger networks, you understand? They're the ones that I would buy from, okay? But again, do your diligence. Do your education, do your shopping. If you can't find a certain coin anywhere and you see it on television and it's bid $500 and they want $600 for it and you can't get anywhere else, guess what the price is? The price is $600. Yeah. Okay, that's it. So if you say, well, I can buy $500 somewhere else, turn off the TV set. But TV has a purpose. And it does a good purpose as far, they sell proof sets all the time. They sell all kinds of, it's not just Morgan and Peace dollars. They sell gold, they sell everything, And if you're on television, every product on television has got a markup of X, okay? Well, if you're buying the 60s rock and roll hits for $9.99, there's not a whole lot of difference, okay? But if you're buying a Hoover vacuum cleaner, you're buying jewelry, you're buying anything, you can buy a Hoover vacuum cleaner at Walmart cheaper than you can on television, but guess what? There's no Walmart in your town. And they're going to deliver it to your door, and you might be older and you can't move around very well, and you just got your credit card there and telephone, this will work. Someone rings the doorbell 3 days later and gives you your vacuum cleaner. So it has a very good purpose. So I hear guys beat it up all the time. Hey, find anything, but they complain about everybody, anything. All these guys. There's the moaners in our business. They never stop.
Yeah. No matter what.
The jealousy. Oh God.
Uh-huh.
I could name names. I'm not going to.
That's for the later video.
Yeah. What I like is that you're at playing pinochle. Pinochle cards, and there's 6 people, 3 couples. Maybe 8 people, 4 couples. And everybody's getting along, having a real good time, And when they leave, they go home. Did you hear what they said last night? Oh, they did. And he was cheating. And he's having an affair with them, And they're all friends when they're together, That's the world. Live with it, But I can go to one coin table and this guy be talking about somebody, and next thing you know, well, I never heard that about him. He says, is that true? He says, well, I heard it from so-and-so. I heard it from so-and-so, One thing I want to say about coin dealers are like little old ladies. They can really gossip, that's for sure. Yeah. They're good guys. They're all good guys.
How about some more stories about your coin business?
Oh, yeah. Malcolm Kern. Smaller dealer. I think he's from New York. When you're buying and selling coins, it's just a business. So someone says to you, what are you paying on Morgan dollars? And you say, I'm paying 40, selling at 45. And those were the days, okay? Well, what about this date? And you say, well, I'm buying all of them 40, 45. Where you want to sell me? Just keep it simple, So I'm buying like, I think it was 010s, which was, no, some was a little bit better than 010s. 88Os, that's what it was, 88Os. Yeah, it's 88Os. And I have accumulated over the last 3 or 4 shows that I haven't shipped out, but I mean 3 or 4 rolls, because I'm getting more on those because they're all selling to me at $40. I'm getting like $60 out of those. So Malcolm comes up and says, what are you paying for 88Os? I says, I'm paying the same as everybody else, paying $40, just what I say. He says, do you have any? What are you selling those for? He says, I'll sell for $45. That's me. He says, how many rows you got there? I said, I have 3.5 rows. He says, I'll take them all. I go, damn.
Darn it, darn it. Yeah.
But nothing you can do about it. You gotta honor it. You can't just say no.
Right.
I'm a liar. I want more money. You know. So you gotta live by the sword. You gotta die by the sword. You know. So anyway, I thought we were going to talk more about coins, but you brought me into the whole arena. But I don't know why. I think the only thing that gets me to my success is that I take chances when others don't. I look at things, I analyze things before I make a step. If I see a trend, I'll jump on it. Well, I could tell you something, how I made a lot of money one time, but the TV station I did that with, it was Dale Earnhardt days would be mad at me, so I'm not going to do that one. But Dale Earnhardt died, and there was some of the little cars, and I accidentally knew a guy that had about 10,000 of them, and he sold them for me X, and they paid Y, and they said, I'm going to pay Y for it, but Y was a lot more than X was.
Hey, fair enough.
So I didn't tell them, I didn't say, oh, I bought them for X, you know, I want X plus 10% or 20%. I'll take your Y,
I just
you know.
want
yeah,
Y.
so
Yeah.
anyway, so I don't want to get into that one. But there's all kinds of things that we've done. We did, during the Beanie Baby days when I did that thing, we did scooters, razor scooters and stuff like that. But if it works, you know. I also bought a renter warehouse, just that wasn't built yet, and they were getting new tenants, and it was a pretty big warehouse. I got a motorhome that's 39 square feet, and it fits in it about that much. Seriously, it actually touches the wall at the front. At the back, is at this much. If you move it, the garage door will go up and down. So that saved me $200 a month by storing it somewhere else. So it's paying for itself, you know. I mean, my rent's $500 a month, so I'm saving $200 a warehouse. So it's only $3 a month. But the same warehouses that are doing right now are $1,000 a month, and I'm paying $550. And I got into that early. That's just think, you know. When it comes to your pocketbook, think before you buy anything, from Fritos to the stock market to gold and silver. Just think before you spend it. And remember the bubblegum theory. If you can buy 5 of these things, would you rather have these 5 things? It can't be all the same things. Still 5 sticker bars. It could be a baseball, football, You get 5 things. Think of it this way. What would I rather have those 5 things as one thing? And the answer will always be yes, pretty well. Yeah. Like my daughter's car school did today to get shocks on it. Factory shocks. $580. We used to overhaul engines in a car
For $500.
$100.
Yeah.
$100, whole engine overhaul. You
Yeah.
know? It's $580. And then they said, they called back, it says it's like $800. Why? I said, well, that was just the parts. It's $200 a shock. I'm thinking, it's a good thing I got money, I guess. It just you just don't understand how this works, you know. Yeah. But there's a couple of things I always wish I could have done. I'd like to get on live TV with some of the scoundrels out there and just play straight, just common sense. You know, I don't know, it might not work because, you know, the elections going on right now, you got one side so far to the right it isn't funny, you got one side so far to the left it don't work. I remember when I had civics in college, my professor, his name was Bill something, I forgot that. Anyway, he said, you know, all the way, he was older, said all the way through, says nothing changes. Your life won't change. You'll have things like the atomic bomb, so there'll be changes, but when it comes to the president's election, it never changes. I didn't understand at the time. He says, well, what you're going to do is you're going to have a Republican for about two terms, 1 or 2 terms, and you're going to switch because the public just doesn't like anything that's going on, ever. They don't like anything that's going on in Congress. This was in the 60s. Okay?
Right.
And he says, but after that, they'll go Democrat for 1 or 2 terms, and go back Republican, go back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. Guess what? They went back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth.
That's what they've done.
And then, once in a while, you have a one-termer and gets out of there right quick, you know. But he said, but what they'll do, the public's as stupid as they are, they're as smart as they are, because they'll elect a Democratic president and they'll put a Republican Congress to top it. And they've Republican and Democrat, and they do it every time. And guess what? Except for a few small exceptions to that, I know there'd be some pundits that saw this want to tear that up, go back and get statistics and spend about, 10 or 20 employees, a couple 300 hours to prove that wrong, but it's pretty close to right.
Right.
Okay, it's pretty close to right. And but there's sometimes I see guys on television that they're pro-right or pro-left, and they're so far over there compared to where everybody is. But anyway, Bill Weaver, that's his name, Bill Weaver. Bill said, whoever gets the closest to the middle wins. And it's the truth. The closer you get to where the middle is, because the middle is that you got to please every black person, every white person, every green, yellow, purple person, Republicans, Democrats. You got Lutherans, Church of Christ. You got to please all of them. You're not going to get them all. So you just got to get the most you can. I guess the most you can get to the middle is a candy bar. You know what I mean? You got to have something sweet enough to get them there. Right. You know, so that's just common sense, actually, if you want to look at it. But not everybody sees that. You know, like that Barry Bonds thing I said. You know. He says he sees signs, you know, he sees angles the balls are coming to get to catch that other guys would miss. And he's not as fast as they are or something like that. I forget what he said. It was a good line. But again, I don't know why, but I don't know. When I look back at everything and I look forward, I just kind of see things as they are. When I watch television, I understand why it happened. I understand why the immigration thing is. I understand why people are trying to get out of countries and boats sink and people, you know, I understand why one person wants to kill somebody and everything, but I don't think any of it's right. There's nothing I can do about it. But I just see it. I guess I watch a lot of news all the time, so that kind of up on current events all my life. And I can see this person's perspective and this person's perspective and get them to the middle. You know, and I stay in the middle. You know, when I vote, I'm going to vote whatever I think's best. You know, I'm a true independent. You know, the people say, you know, everybody's Republican says they're independent, everybody's Democrat says they're independent because they're trying to hide wolf in sheep's clothing. You know, just say what you are. Tell it like it is. What are you trying to say? Just say it. You know, I don't like Hillary. I hate Trump. I don't. You know, right. Just say it. You know, we know what you mean.